So we got loads of Tether FUD at the moment, probably contributing to the dip you are seeing in the markets. Is this flash out going to continue or not? So I'm looking at some options here. This FUD could be a buy opportunity for BTC and these altcoins. Let's go. And remember, as always, well, firstly, I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. And if you like the content, hit the like, hit the bell, and hit that subscribe button. It is, what are we? Monday. We got James in the house. Hello, sir. Mr. Bulerish is cooking. And it's Monday. We've got Chaos here. We're talking indicator stuff. He's got 2 setups coming in hot for you guys as well. So we're going to bring these guys in as and when we need them. We got news going on that James is going to fill us in on as well. But overall, we are nice and red at the moment. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's nice. Chart hackers were party to a couple of shorts, fortunately, but also a couple of longs that took a few stops there. So a bit of a mixed bag for me over the last couple of days. And let's jump into BTC. Let's see what's going down. So last night on the Sunday banger, we were looking at the possibility of these head and shoulders forming on BTC and some of these altcoins. And I was saying to the hackers, like, oh, I wasn't feeling great, but I wasn't feeling like this bad. Okay, so this stuff really fell over properly. And now you can see what's going on here. We are trying to map out where we can get our possible reversal on BTC. And what we can do when we get a sell-off like this is we can easily start plotting where we're going to get our potential short later on when things do pump a little bit higher. So at the moment, you can see what's gone on here. That head and shoulders has fallen. Has formed. We've dropped pretty hard here today. And now I'm looking at the 2-hour chart and I'm looking for a bullish divergence print, which I would think we are going to get pretty soon. And my initial assumption here is that we're going to take out this weekend low from the weekend on the 22nd. When was that? 21st of November. So 10 days ago. Okay, we're looking to take that one out. It would be a flush into the 786. Look at that, a flush into that 786 fib. So 83,266 is going to be what I would expect to be some kind of reaction zone and hopefully a bounce to save me in my current long position. So 83,266 is what we are looking for there on BTC. If things go a little bit deeper, a little bit darker, you can see the obvious play here for the market maker is this wick fill over there. And that could take us all the way back to 80K. So if we do get a flush out, what you want to look for is a hard push, a flush through that region, probably sub 80K, let's call it 79 and some change, and then a possible sweep and pump. So bounce zones, guys, 83,266, and then round about 80K, we are looking for a bit of a dump. Magic 6 says markets dumping because of BOJ rate hike news. I think pick your poison. I mean, we've got Tether FUD, we've got a QT ending today. There's so many reasons. If you want to find a reason, you can dig around and find it. But what we need to do is obviously just focus on the reaction zones and hopefully play them accordingly. So guys, there's my plan at the moment. Let's see if we're going to get an entry here on the stream at 83,400 down to 83,200. Looking for a bounce, and Legend of E says Japan will end us. I mean, or is Tether going to end us? Because it's Tether time as usual. Like clockwork in the market, we need our Tether FUD so that we can call a bottom. So let's get into the news. Let's see. I've got tons to cover for you guys. So those of you that are new watching the show, obviously we cover Bitcoin, we cover some of the news now. We're going to look at higher time frame stuff and stocks, gold, silver, and then I've got tons of altcoins for you from degen setups, and then some much higher time frame stuff that you can actually set limit orders for that you're probably going to pick up this week if this sell-off continues. So lots to look forward to over here, and all these charts go into the Chart Hackers Discord for you guys directly after the show. Is this the first dump of the bear already? I think that first dump of the bear was at 126K, if I'm not mistaken. This might be dump number 10 already in the bear market. Okay, let's get straight into lickies here. Let's see what is going down. So big numbers again. Wow, this was 800 billion a couple of minutes ago. We are now 937. Are we going to hit our Billy? James is fist pumping the air here. He likes it when we hit it.
We got our Billy. Merry Christmas. Happy Thanksgiving.
We need our Billies, guys. Okay, so 937 million. That's a pretty dark day. That's a pretty rough 24 hours in the crypto market. We got comfortable and we got used to, you know, the 200 million situation. Like we were getting comfy with that. But 900 means guys are getting absolutely rinsed once again. And this is me last night. Tell me who this wasn't. last night. Anybody that was sleeping, if this wasn't you, I mean, are you even a leverage trader? Okay, so I mean, this is definitely Chaos and James as well. And what's going on here, guys? Is this Bitcoin bull market in the room with us right now? I don't know. I believe the Bitcoin bull market has left us. Chaos, how are you feeling about life at the moment? Is it in the room with us? Right?
I was optimistic more a month or two ago, if I'm honest.
Long time ago. James, how are you feeling about this?
Yeah, not great at the moment. Was hoping for a bit of a rally into the rate cut here, at least temporarily. But yeah, it's looking like we're in trouble here until maybe first quarter next year. I don't know.
Reminder. This is the typical first 5 days of a month where they come and end you. You think everything is done, and then they're going to pump it back. Remember, on the 10th of December is our big day. That's our FOMC on the 10th of December.
And the 19th. Yep, that's right. And the 19th is Japan's rate cut decisions. So we've got good news and bad news potentially back to back.
So why not pump it into the 10th of December so we can short it, guys? That is going to be the plan. So let's survive. Let's survive the sell-off. Let's make sure we're ready to go. There's probably going to be a pump into the 10th of December that we can look for a couple of shorts. Now, let's take a look what's going on here. There's Tether FUD all over the place. Tether is now the talk of the town, and it seems to be a standard play in crypto. When Tether FUD comes out, that seems to be some kind of bottom or some kind of local bottom. But basically, they've downgraded the Tether due to Bitcoin and gold exposure. Obviously, so they're saying it's obviously a risky play. And the Wolf of Wall Street says Tether FUD is the dumbest part of every cycle. And it almost feels like that. It was like in the days when China were banning Bitcoin. There's always something that needs to come out. So Crypto Rover says Tether FUD usually marks the bottom for BTC. And you can see here's his charts at the moment that we can look at. And Tether is one of the most profitable companies on the planet. I don't think he's wrong, actually, at the moment. And Arthur Hayes had a lot to say, a lot of negative energy about them as well. That did start a few problems for them because these guys are holding gold and BTC. So obviously if things roll over, I mean, if Bitcoin goes to 40K, Tether in theory could be in a little bit of trouble. But we must also understand, you know, that these guys are making so much money. So, you know, they will be able to prop themselves up and look after themselves. So, you know, I'm not seeing the major FUD that everyone else is seeing. James, I mean, anything you want to add here? I'm not feeling Tether FUD scares me anymore.
No, everyone's talking about it, but I don't think this is really what's controlling the market. Because last night during Asia Open, as soon as it opened, we just went straight to hell. I was like, okay, there's news, something's happened. And it was that the 2-year bond that spiked. The Nikkei dropped immediately. Crypto followed. It's like, okay, that's what's causing the news. You can see the correlation there. They dropped together. So Tether FUD didn't tank the Nikkei.
Okay, well, guys, the Nikkei is pumping silver at the moment. We long the top of silver on Friday. This thing is now cooking. I mean, look, it was a risky play. Longing the top of anything is obviously a risky play. But the silver trade is now flying. And we're looking at 59.9. That is going to be our upside play that we are looking at here. 59.9. They are higher targets, you know, but right now, let's let this thing start cruising. And you can just keep raising your fibs over there. You just want to get your bull support. And right now, 54.5 is your bull support down to 53.4. Okay, so we are long and strong on silver. And
we taking half there at 59?
I'll just close the whole thing at 59. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate the concern. Gold took the short earlier. I gave the short in the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏s Discord. Was looking for this rejection. Let's see how this plays out. Obviously, if things turn super bearish on the S&P and crypto, we might get a little bit more strength out of gold at the moment. But in terms of the short setup that I wanted to see, this is now underway. So let's take a look at my mixed bag of tricks here at the moment. So the gold short, I've got $100 up. The silver long, I'm 660 up. MicroStrategy, I'm getting absolutely rinsed, but I know my support is coming at 152, and I'm going to be looking to add to MicroStrategy. So we're going to cover that one now. Microsoft, I don't know. It's probably time to close this thing. It's been floating around this $440 odd for a while. And Circle, obviously, Circle is a concern for me because we need a strong crypto market. We want to pump MicroStrategy and Circle to the upside. So Circle is still green. This thing was cooking a bit harder last week, but I'm going to try and be patient. Okay, so far so good with the bag of tricks here on BTCC. And let's see what else. So December is historically a strong month for stocks. Since 28, S&P has ridden 73% of the time in December, the highest win rate of any month. That is lovely to know. But what is not so lovely to know is the fact that Bitcoin doesn't perform that well in December. Okay, so Santa rally. Well, I mean, let's take a look here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 red months out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So out of 12, 7 out of 12 in December, Bitcoin goes to hell.
And we've never had a red November that wasn't followed by a red December, ever.
Wow, I'm looking at this now. Okay, 2014, that doesn't count. 2013 doesn't count. Okay, so yeah,
but every red November followed a red December.
Okay, well, that's something to look forward to, guys. But remember, we're already 4% down. We can chop all the time. We can have a Santa rally. Bitcoin can go to 100K, and they can still capitulate us back, and we can say November ended at red. Okay, so remember, a month is a very long time, so just hang in there. Let's talk S&P. This thing is still looking rather strong. Okay, so looking good here for me at the moment. So no changes to that. We're above the 50-day MA. Microsoft, you can see we pretty much in the cut zone here. We had the long off the 200-day moving average. So I have now cut that one, as you can see. So that is obviously the rejection zone we're looking at, somewhere in that 490. But I'm going to bank those profits because I'm under a little bit of pressure here on MicroStrategy. Now, TrendSpider says MicroStrategy third bullish capitulation signal in 5 years. If history rhymes, which sometimes it does, we're near another major bottom. Okay, so the only issue with bottoms is that sometimes you have to get a double bottom. And I mean, in this example here, we had a bit of a problem here, chopped around for a relatively long time. Looked like a couple of weeks there where it floated around. But anyway, I'm long and strong here, or long and not so strong. But what I'm looking at, 152, need this bounce here. Please, can the crypto gods and the stock gods come and pump us? And then 105 is going to be the next one. I won't be hanging on to MicroStrategy to 105. I'll have to look for a new buy over there. But 105 is going to be the next big one. And then in terms of the 3-day chart, this thing is looking tired at the moment. Okay, so we've got our first reversal print. Again, doesn't guarantee it reverses now. We might still have to print a divergence, which sometimes means a little bit more downside on this thing. Okay, and then Circle, well, you know the drill. Crypto market must do well. Everyone must be happy. And then Circle will start pushing up a little bit. And the same with Coinbase. I mean, it's uncanny, guys. I spoke about this 200-day moving average as the target for Coinbase. Closed that trade on Friday, and you can see why. Look at this rejection here at that 200-day moving average. Very simple marker that you can use on your stocks, and a nice reversal there on Coinbase. So the right decision in the end to close that guy. Okay, let's get into. Jeez, I got a long list here, and Chaos is here, guys. Don't forget. He's here. He's cooking. He's cooking some things. Now, Bitcoin extends losses to 5% on the day as crypto raises 150 billion market cap. No news at all for crypto, just $600 million in liquidations. Okay, so, I mean, we had a look at that stuff. But in terms of our higher time frame chart, guys, not looking pretty. We've got our 236 rejection zone. We had 3 big zones. That was 91.6, 98.2, and 103.6. And one of them was going to be not necessarily the big short, but this is obviously now starting to play out for us for BTC. So in terms of the 3-day time frame, there is a scenario here that I want you guys just to consider for a moment. And you can see on our 3-day chart, we do have a reversal print. Now, one of the options is, and I cover this a fair amount, is the easy trade is you just go long at these lows and, you know, you hope for the best and everything starts grinding up. The slightly more challenging one is going to be that bullish divergence type trade you want to see. So essentially what happens is the oscillator dips, but it prints a higher high here, a higher low on the oscillator, and that means the price needs to drop, okay, and create a new low for us. So what we are looking at here is a possibility. If we're going to get a bullish divergence print on the 3-day, there is the possibility that Bitcoin on this higher time frame goes into 78 to 75K, somewhere in this region. It has to be on the table for us. So right now, I'm not fully exiting any of these shorts. We're using them as protection here. We're using them as cover to the downside, and we're going to wait patiently for the right reversals to come. Okay, and Atucasi says, have we bottomed yet? So on the 3-day, not necessarily. Okay, and in terms of the 2-hour time frame, let's just we'll look at that one again. I'll find that one for you now. What I want to cover here is yes, I agree, Tony. We're longing Zcash at 300. I've got that chart for you guys today. So right now, the total market cap that we're looking at the moment, we got our nice bounce off that 786 fib. everything was looking rosy, and then we got a little bit of an early rejection. And I was saying not too long ago, you know, it's actually fine if we do drop here, as long as we start holding those lows, maybe a double bottom, something along those lines. So there's a lot of variables here at the moment, watching BTC, watching total, and we got to just keep our eyes on these things, because if they're going to print a divergence, it means we're going to get a much bigger sustainable move, but that does mean that we're going to have a little bit more pain ahead that we just need to be ready for in case they come and hit us with that. Okay, USDT dominance. This is obviously a problem for us, and we are in the zone where we've marked it, guys. Must reject here. Okay, I mean, it literally must reject here. If this thing starts exploding, and it could, obviously, we are going to find ourselves in a spot of bother on altcoins that I don't think we've experienced yet. I think 10th of October that we've cleaned out of those wicks, they're going to send us to new lows, okay, on some of these altcoins. So just be ready for that. Be ready and prepped. If you think some of these alts can't go lower, well, USDT dominance at 7.46 might disagree with you. So look out for that if we do explode. But right now, we cannot assume that it's going to break out. We've got to look at this as resistance. And what we do at resistance is we look for the rejection time and time again until it eventually breaks. At some point, we are wrong. So, you know, if we find Bitcoin sitting on nice support in a couple of hours, you might find USDT dominance sitting up here at this resistance zone. You might find altcoins on support, and it's probably going to be a sign to look for a bounce. Naturally, we could be wrong. And if it blows out through resistance, then this is going to be probably the big one that we're going to watch, 7.46. Okay, looking at alts dominance, what was that comment there? Dominance was? James, the dominance comment there? Looking at alts dominance is going to rip. Yeah, I was looking at Bitcoin dominance here, and it's relatively flat. So you can see these alts are not getting as abused as they actually could at the moment. So we know, we can all agree the market is drifting lower, but in terms of dominance, it's not like it's pumping that hard, fueling BTC with all the alts draining out into BTC. So they are holding at the moment here, and we are looking for the alts to outperform at this resistance zone. Oh, sorry, we want to use this arrow here that says alts outperform. So we are looking for these alts to just pump here. I mean, for dominance to just push into the zone, and then we're looking for a nice rally on the alts. So USDT dominance at resistance, Bitcoin on support, BTC dominance at resistance could give us a little push here on the alts. Aero, Asta, Hype, Virtual, everything. Look, we're going to look at those now, and my account has gone from beluga caviar to burnt toast. I mean, that was pretty much everybody's weekend getting chopped up. I must say that virtual trade was absolute torture over the last 3 days. I just watched this thing chop around in a very tight range. It was the most frustrating trade I've been in a very long time. So I'm glad that one was over in the end there. Now, our 4-hour heat map, this has been an interesting one for us. We had these alts drop deeply into the lows. Remember, when you see these alts start really pushing into these oversold levels over here under this region, and you see dominance, look at dominance pushing up into the overbought region. Once we get the two extremes, then we can start looking for these bounces in the market. So right now, things are looking okay for a short-term reversal. We've just got to lock these alts into their support zone. So what I'm going to give you is a lot of altcoins on higher time frame, and we're going to give you some degen setups, and we're going to see if we can just tie these in with one another, and we can maybe catch a couple of bounces here over the next few hours or the next day or two. And let's see, check Visa nearing 100-week SMA. I haven't looked at Visa in a while. I mean, we were bullish on US credit card debt at one point there, and then there was that news on Visa, and they dropped that thing. And Dan says, think I'm going to switch to sports betting. Guys, I've got prediction markets coming in for us. We're going to have so much fun in the next couple of weeks. Prediction markets are coming up. It's going to be part of the show. We are going to have an absolute blast with those things. I'm telling you now, we're going to have a great time with these. Okay, so we're bringing that around the corner. Okay, chaos. We've got tons of alts to cover. Talk to me quickly before I jump into some of these, because I obviously got to cover the urgent ones like ETH and Sol and stuff like that. What are you looking at today? What are you seeing with the market? What can we expect from you now?
I'm looking at, it's funny you mentioned Zcash. So I've got ZEC or Zcash and also Asta for a long, but further down. So I can give you those entries. And then today I've got a curve long. We're on the 786 now. And if you have time, I've got an ICNT short and something completely shitcoin casino called Truth.
Okay. Okay, nice. And can you guys stop teasing me, please? Why are you teasing me? Why are people saying I'm glowing now? You preferred me when I was blue. Please don't insult me like this, okay? James, why are they teasing me? I went to a big effort to make my camera look better.
I think they're jealous because you're just so handsome. It's the beard.
Okay, fine. Okay, everyone's forgiven. It's all fine. Okay, it's all fine. Okay. Chaos, hang ya. Chaos, I like Zcash because I'm talking about Zcash. Hopefully our charts align with one another. If not, well, we can debate the living daylights out of that thing. Okay, let's talk about ETH. Let's go higher time frame. Remember, guys, when the shit is hitting the fan while digging up Grammy, I found ZEC under. Guys, higher time frame. When you've got problems in the market, okay, when things are falling over, what you need to do, you zoom out to higher time frame. You got to get a context to see where we are. If you keep longing 15-minute candles every time you think you hit support, that gets expensive. Okay, you got to zoom out. You got to say, where are we in the actual context of the market now? And then you start looking at your position. So what I do every Monday in the Chart Hackers Discord is I update 20 to 30 higher time frame charts for you. I've obviously spent a lot of time on that today as well. So Chart Hackers members in the Discord, go and look at the higher time frame charts. Those levels are going to be key for you today. Okay, so we're going to look at ETH, for example. And right now you can see in terms of our higher time frame zone, we've got 2750 into 2620. This is a bounce zone until proven otherwise. Okay, so higher time frame zone number 1 is in play. If the market drops lower, what have we got? We got 2,375, agree, and then we've got 2,150. So these are our big reaction zones. These are the areas where if things are falling over, we can start sniffing around in positions because we can see Bitcoin might be on support, USDT dominance might be at resistance, and then you've got a higher time frame altcoin sitting on support. So in terms of ETH, I've taken a long off a lower time frame chart. I'm going to show you guys that in a sec. And then we've got the same dilemma as BTC. We've got our reversal on the 3-day chart. Option 1 is the easy trade. We just bounce from here and everybody's happy. Little rally into the 10th of December and everything starts looking great. Other than that, we get the divergence play where we just reverse one more time and we print a new high on the oscillator, but we print a new low on the price. Now, if we're going to do the divergence play, guys, this is where you're looking for bounces. 2360 and 2150. Those are going to be your ETH higher conviction long zones. Okay, so right now, possible short-term push up in the market on ETH, and then we keep our eye on any dumps. We keep our eyes on resistance, and then we look for some possible rejections. Okay, so here's my long on ETH at the moment for 2720. I took the long. I told the chart hackers we might be getting a bounce here on the 786. Just looking for a reaction in this area. In terms of the 2-hour chart, you can see we might be on the verge of printing bullish divergence as well now on the 2-hour. So we could be in for a short-term bounce in the market. What is a short-term bounce? Now, the rules are, remember, when something is super bullish, you're looking for a 236 FIB bounce zone, possibly the top of a 382. When something is super bearish, you're looking for it to pump into the 236 and reject, or possibly into the 382 and that bear zone. So it's pretty much the same principle here on ETH, and I've written here degen rejection zones. So if we get a short-term bounce now on ETH, where do you need to be careful? 2,796. There is your rejection zone number 1. And then here is our bear zone. What is the bear zone? It's a 382.5 VWAP combination. Sometimes we sprinkle some order blocks in between, and that is pretty much where we could get some kind of rejection there. So 2850 to 29, that is going to be your bear zone. These are all your rejection zones that you need to watch for ETH if the trade is going to work. And in terms of an exit plan, what you can do is close under 2715, or alternatively close under 2699. Depends how bearish, depends how degen you are and what type of leverage you are using. Okay, so that is how I'm playing it at the moment. I'm running this on BitGet. Let's just take a look where we are. And okay, so we got a little start here. It's turned a little bit green. BTC long, I've got that going. I've taken a ton of profits on that long there. And then I've got the short running, clipped a little bit of that short. There's the Sol short that's taken quite a bit of profit out of that Sol short there at the moment. I've banked 4,400. Pump, I'm long on Pump. That is a fresh one. 𝗬𝗰, fresh one. 𝗬𝗰 short's been doing quite nicely here. And Brett and Hype are my fresh ones from today. After taking stops while I slept last night, the short saved us on the way down, and now we've got some possible long opportunities on these guys. Okay, so we're going to cover these for you now. Let's talk Sol. My God, this is not looking good. And John Wick says Tower halving will only be positive What's his comment there? Because I need to actually look at this tower. Can you find that comment there, James? Will only be positive for the token in the long term. Yeah, look, I mean, I was on the camp of a tower halving pump. That's happening also around the 10th of December. I mean, I think there's still the odds of a pump. If we get a market pump, tower will play the game. Sol looks horrible. I actually feel emotional. Like this is not fun. So
Okay.
we looked at this last night. In fact, even on the Banter Royale last night, I know Legend of Ian Alex picked up the Sol short on the scalping competition last night, Banter Royale. And I took a look at this and I was actually this is not a bad zone here off that VWAP. And this thing has now played out immensely. So well done to those guys as well. And this was obviously part of our win entry that we dropped in the hackers. I don't know, when was it, guys? A week ago, give or take. It was a hell of a long play here on Sol. It's taken a ton of time to play out, but we have smashed all of these TPs now. And the question is, obviously, can Sol now go a little bit lower? So in terms of what we're doing now on the short term for the degens, what I want you guys to see is, you can see we've lost a big level here on Sol. What I want you guys to look at here at the moment is this low over there. And this could be your first region that you want to pay attention to. So 121 could give us something. What you want to look for here, guys, is a flush of these lows. So a little drop, just like Bitcoin, and then a pump to the upside. So you're going to look out for some kind of stop hunt here on Sol. It's a slightly risky degen play, obviously, and you're going to just look for that quick little move and then a push back to the upside. Okay, so your risk is going to be about 1.4%, which is pretty reasonable. 1.4% risk. Look for that little flush and pump here. So anything from 122 look for the stop hunt down to 120, and then you're looking for the bounce. So if you don't get that hard reaction, if you don't get a 15-minute candle that pumps you up here relatively quickly, then you might have to cut that position. Okay, so it's about a 1.5% risk that you're going to look for. Look for that drop, 15-minute candle reversal, and pump back to the upside. Okay, so now, Sol, I just want to give you guys, in fact, what you can do is, if you want to see the higher time frame charts, all you do, the hackers members, you go into the Discord, you're going to go to my section where it's crypto long term, and you're going to go and you're going to identify all of these higher time frame charts here for you guys. There's my channel over there. Okay, so you go into long term, and you're going to see all the charts that I've updated here for you guys with all these levels, including Sol, where the levels are 112 and 98 that I'm watching at the moment. So Sol, 112 and 98 are the higher time frame levels in case the market starts dropping a little bit more. Okay, and apparently the USD FUD wasn't enough, so the Japanese went hawkish. Agree. Okay, Chaos, let's do something from Chaos. I'm keen to see what he's got cooking over here, and maybe you can give us a couple of entries. And then, guys, we're going to cover for you. I'm going to cover virtual, Sui, Hype, Asta, Pump. There's so much going on here. Brett is one of them. I'm sitting in a Brett trade, and we'll tag team on some Zcash for you guys as well. Okay, Chaos, let's get your screen up. Let's see what's going on here.
What do you want to do? I've got Curve. I've got Zcash first. Do you want to do Curve or do you want to do Zcash?
Let's go Curve. Let's go Curve.
Okay, bro. Cool. So look, very, very simple chart, guys. A literal support box that we've pinged multiple times, drawn across from 1010. The dreaded day. I've drawn you a resistance trend line just to show that we've been in a downtrend. But every time we've pinged this line, we've rejected back into the zone. Pinged it, and back we come. We've got some VWAPs, which are pulled from two areas, previous highs, previous lows, that both converge up at this trend line, along with a 100-day. So what I've done is I've been pulling fibs from all these different levels, and the 786 is a highly respected level with this token. So what I've done is I've pulled a fib from the recent low to the high, just very simple, and we're bang on the 786 now. So what I'm actually doing is I'm just targeting the trend line. What was that? Was that a minute? Was that a minute? Or did you...
No, I bought some Tao. It's hitting a big level.
Oh, you're wet entering me, sir.
Continue. No, I just saw it now and I didn't have an entry.
Nice. So, guys, 786, we're bouncing off this now. Let me zoom in to give you guys the levels now you've seen it. So, if you can enter around about this previous low, okay, I can see people are buying this right now. The previous week low, 37.5 cents, give or take. Okay. Your risk to the downside is going to be roughly 5%. I would just buy this on spot, guys. The thing with spot, you can't get lickies. You hold it, and you
And are
sell
you
it.
even having fun if you're not getting lickies, right? Okay, so
Well,
guys,
do
Chaos
you
runs
want
the
lickies?
20% club.
Do you
He's got the 20% club in the 𝗏𝗏𝗃 Discord, and they are doing nice and relaxing spot and low margin trades, this type of stuff. He's running this in his channel all the time. He's using these indicators for these moves. Okay. Okay, so we got our entry here. You got a 5% risk on 𝗏𝗃.
Yeah, and then to be honest with you, your take profit is roughly 25%. So it's a 5-to-1 trade, guys. Nice trade.
That's yeah. I mean, that's pretty decent. And looking at that, it feels like, you know, maybe a reversal is around the corner with the 5% stop. So that looks good. What have you changed with your charts? They're looking interesting. What is this big red band you've got here? What's going on here?
Mate, you know me. I'm the indicator guy. I love playing with different trends and different trend lines and whatever. We've got the Kalman trend. We've got some extra stuff running from Chart Prime here. We've got prediction lines now. We've got the VWAP. So there's a lot going on. But every chart looks different, and you know, give people a bit of variety. You know.
Okay, let's talk Zcash. I'm sure the guys dying to know what happened with Zcash, especially the guys that are along the top. Let's see what we've got here because we can tag team this one. I'm sure. Oh, I mean, that's already looks good. What is your level there?
Okay, so this is a macro 618 from the lows back in August 25. And that level is 314. Okay. I appreciate we're in a downtrend, guys. And I understand that even if we get some little bounces to the upside, we can dip further. So I'm fully aware of that. As confluence here, we have a VWAP pulled from the previous lows, which meets this order block, which meets the 100-day, which is coming in here. This is going to be a very telling zone. So for me, if you can enter between 306, 307 and 315, you can set yourself a stop loss somewhere around 280 to 285. If you can, and we do get these pumps, even when we're in a downtrend, we do get these big moves, guys. I'd love to target this point of control a little bit further up. So this is actually a 13-to-1 trade if it comes out. But for me, Dylan, most important thing is the entry. When entry,
Lock it
it's
in.
be that macro 618 from August. It's got to be.
Okay, so yeah, guys, I mean, we've been talking about the Zcash trade potentially being over and the energy running out. We've looked at it in detail on the weeklies, what happened in 2017, 2021, 23, all those times. This thing did fall over pretty hard. Chaos and I almost agree with one another. My level is actually 299 at the moment. I've just mapped out my fibs slightly differently, but we're on the same page, guys. This is bounce time because I can see these oscillators are going to reverse as well on the higher time frame. I mean, we're looking at a daily that's pretty much burnt out at the lows. Chaos is looking at the 8-hour. A divergence print there is going to be like a guard mode trade on the Zcash. So somewhere around 300 for me. 310, not going to be too fussy about it. Obviously, the high leverage traders, you want a little bit more precision. The spot guys, margin guys, 310, 300, somewhere in that zone. You've got an easy exit as well. So yeah, that looks amazing to me on Zcash. Guys, remember, all these charts you see go into the 𝗏𝗏𝗃 Discord directly after the show. They're going to be waiting there for you guys. Okay, so there's my Zcash situation. Ties in nicely with Chaos. I'd say we are on the same page. Now, let's just finish Fartcoin. And I exited this Fartcoin short. The reason being was I was feeling like if the market was going to bounce now, Fartcoin was showing so much relative strength to like Sol and a couple of these others that are rolling over. I didn't want to get caught in a Fartcoin short that starts ripping hard to the upside. So I closed that Fartcoin short. I'm done with this one. You can see we pretty much tapped the top of that TP3 zone. But again, this thing, if you are sitting in Fartcoin, you can see, you can see the levels. Yeah, you can see that's a possible reaction zone here and possibly more downside. I just wanted to make sure I banked something in case this thing started cooking. Okay, when my wife sees my account after this, only balls hanging on our Christmas tree are going to be mine. Guys, this is good. This is good stuff. Let's keep Chaos up here. Don't run away. Chaos, so there's a whale, or a little whale. He's longed, he put 3 million into Hyperliquid. He's longed at 10x. He's longed Hype 10x. Oh, the position is now the position is now valued at 90 million. His lickies is sitting at 25.7 at the moment. Let's take a look here at Hype. So I took the long off this low here. This is our 20. What do we got here? 29.27, and this is pretty much the same as these other tokens. The exit zone is pretty clear. You've got a clean invalidation if you want to play the game. There's your wick low. You can see we're currently filling the wick low. What you want to look for is some kind of game here at the bottom. They might put you under pressure, flush you, and then pump this one a little bit higher. So slightly risky degen play if you're going to look for that little candle drop. But 29, if you close under 29, guys, on the 1 hour, even on the 30 minutes, if you close under 29, that's probably a bit bearish. And you can see our oscillator wants to reverse here. If we start getting energy, this is going to print bullish divergence. Now, Legend of E likes 20. What does he like? 21 to 24. Now, this is probably our higher time frame charts here. Let's see. I did map something out here on Hype recently here. Let's see what levels we've got here on this guy. There we go. Okay, there's our big higher time frame chart. Okay, so if you want some higher time frame stuff, look at that. There's a 28.6. That 24 feels a little bit dark looking at this. Okay, so there's a macro 618 there on Hype on the higher time frame on the daily chart. 28.6. Okay, so what does that equate to at the moment? It means possible short-term bounce. So look at this. Okay, what you're looking at here, possible short-term bounce to the upside, and then you're going to look for a potential rejection at one of your bear zones. So possible rejection zones, 30.9, 32, 32.9. Okay, so if this goes up, you're looking at your 236 rejection, you're looking at your 382 rejection, and that's the one that could send you to those lower levels. Okay, so just remember that any push to the upside, you look for nice rejection zones, and then you can try and ride some shorts back to the downside. Chaos, you've got Asta. So does yours look anything like this? If we touch on this one quickly.
Yeah, you've got entry now, right? I'm slightly lower, but you're on the 12 hour. I'm on the 2 hour. So I imagine we're pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not taking this one just yet. I got stopped on Asta. They gave us a 4% pump, and then they dropped us yesterday or late last night. But in terms of zones, guys, Asta for me down to 81. Does make sense here. So I'd say, be picky with what you want to jump into. Asta gave us a little move there, and then possibly, another dip here. And you're going to probably play about 7% risk on this guy. So look for something around, for me, 88 into 81 Chaos. Do you like something like that?
I've got 84 because there's a fair value gap that we need to close down.
Yeah, value gaps. Okay, so guys, that makes sense to me there on Asta. Guys, let's talk Pump. It's obviously one of my favorite shit coins to trade as well. Pump purchased another $1 million of Pump today. They're buying back, doing their tokens, doing their thing. Okay, remember, Hype and Pump, similar models here at the moment. In terms of where do I expect a short-term bounce? I'm expecting it either right here or a little bit lower in this backup zone that I've highlighted over here. So your first entry could be 26, anywhere in this region, down to even 258. That could be something there for you guys. And then we've got quite a big order block here at the lows. Look at that. Okay, so this could offer you something on Pump down to 25, for example, on the lower time frame stuff. Now, remember, you're looking for context. What you can do is you can also zoom out and start looking at these big daily timeframes as well to get a picture as to where you are in the greater scheme of things. But in terms of lower time frame, you can see there's a probability of a little squeeze, taking out any late shorters, and then possibly a little bit of upside before they come and drop this one down. So you're looking for a possible bounce here. You can see I'm in that pump position at the moment, somewhere in that area. Alternatively, you're looking around this 25 zone for a possible bounce on Pump. And we are getting pretty close to a reversal here on the 2 hour as well, the 1 hour, those types of things. So I'm sniffing around. I'm not going big size just yet. Obviously feeling things out at the moment. Once we get momentum, we can start ramping those trades up. But right now, you kind of just want to position yourselves, get something going, and then the momentum comes, okay? And user says he's bullish on undies. I mean, yeah, have you got any left? I don't have any left after this weekend, getting wrecked. But guys, Tao on the 3-day, you heard my cha-ching. Now, the bull case is halving coming 10th of December. The bear case is it doesn't matter. They're selling it because of the halving. Pick what you want, okay? Pick the option that you like. In terms of bounce levels, 247 for me, down into this 228. So here's a potential long that makes sense. If you look at Chaos's curve chart, for example, and you start looking at downside, and Chaos is talking a 5% dip on curve, this could play out onto 𝗬𝗯 as well. Okay, so 247 down to 226, that could make sense. And then maybe a short-term bump back up into the 10th of December, maybe a little bit later. Let's see. Now, the second option is always be prepared. If this level fails, there's a strong possibility you're looking for longs at 175 on 𝗕𝗹𝗃. There's nothing wrong with a stink bid in that area. Get some orders ready here just in case there is a flush out. That is where you're going to look for a long. So 175 is going to be your backup zone. Remember, this higher time frame chart and loads of others are in the Chart Hackers Discord for you that I update every single Monday. Now, here's the biggest shitcoin in history, and it's not because XRP is, but 𝗬𝗍 is fast moving into my shitcoinery category. Okay, 3% of the float is getting unlocked on 𝗬𝗍. Might explain why the price action has been so dark at the last over the last couple of days. So higher time frame says 𝗬𝗍 traders 1.117. There's a possible long coming for you guys. Okay, 1.117. And DGens, well, this is it. It's literally bounce now or get licky. Okay, so here's your absolute low. And if 𝗬𝗍 is going to reverse, in fact, we got to look at these oscillators. If 𝗬𝗍 is going to reverse, you might see a quick dip here, and then they start pushing this guy back up. Okay, so DGen play, if you're trying to fish around here, you've got about a 1 to 2% risk you're looking at in 𝗬𝗍, and this is 131 down into about 1297. You're looking for a flush, you're looking for a stop hunt, and then a pump back to the upside. If that fails, then we're looking at that big level on the higher time frame chart over there for you guys. Okay, so just be ready, both scenarios. And then in terms of the 4 hour, I mean, this thing is screaming reversal at us. Look what happened last time we got a reversal print here on the 4 hour. Look at this thing over there, bang, and they did eventually send us back to the upside. So possibly some action coming on 𝗬𝗍. Obviously, can't guarantee it. Things are looking a little bit shaky here at the moment. Then in terms of Brett, guys, well, yeah, here we are. Okay, also short-term DGen bounce zone. I took that Brett long when we dropped into the retest of that 786. So 144 possible short-term bounce here on Brett. You can see this thing is looking super bearish here at the moment. If we start pumping up here, there's an easy rejection at 15. And then there's possibly another rejection at 16 to 17 there on Brett. So both not looking very good at the moment on the upside. So pumps 155 and 16 looks like the best you're going to squeeze out of this thing before we possibly go lower. Now, obviously, there's a situation here where Brett might just decide to go straight down, and maybe we don't get that bounce. If it does go straight down, what I suggest is wait for it to come to you, wait for that area down there. That's a beautiful zone. And if that happens today, you're going to get quite a nice sustainable bounce here on Brett, because what is going to happen is you're going to print this divergence on the oscillator. So you're going to get that second drop. You're going to get a bullish divergence print on the 2 hour, and you're probably going to find that is happening for you on Brett at 0.13. Okay, so that is your backup zone. So guys, remember, just have a plan, just have a backup zone in these areas. Understand, if your longs are failing on your first area, you're getting chopped up or whatever, sit back, let it come down to the next zone, look for the bullish divergence, 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, anything like that, and then you get that next possible nice juicy bounce out of the market. Okay, so just be ready in case they do drop a little bit more to the downside. What else have we got for you? I've got Aero. This was a big one, and I'm really excited about this Aero, guys. I think this is on the table for us in the near future. We might even get this one today as a possible long. I'm looking at Aero on the daily. This is also in my higher time frame chart section in the Discord, but you're looking at 53, give or take, is what we're chasing here at the moment. So 53 down to 49. There could be a nice long coming. Okay, give yourself breathing room. You can see this type of chart on the daily is more suited for a spot type position or a margin type position. What you want to do if you're trading leverage, you just ladder in slowly in that zone. Okay, so look out 50, call it 54 down to 49. Looks like you're going to get something in those zones. Okay, guys, that is a wrap from me and the boys. We're going to do it all over again tomorrow. All the charts in the Discord. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. Chaos, anything you'd like to add before we bring on Mr. 𝗵𝗿𝗄𝗏?
Mr. 𝗵𝗿𝗏𝗏. Yep, I'm going to give you guys ICNT and truth and hype charts now in Discord. Come hang out.
Okay, there we go. So, guys, there's some more charts coming from Chaos in the Chart Hackers Discord. James?
Good luck, everyone. It's a rough Monday.
Okay. Guys, be back tomorrow, same time. Let's cook this shit. Okay, let's have a good week. See you guys later.